And let's maybe discuss a little bit about how LARPs changed and how they make you feel, how you feel they are better now, or maybe they were better in the past. Okay, somebody wants to?
Can I ask a quick question about
Yes.
the Polish evolution of the LARPs?
Yes.
Can you say that in different cities, like there's different specialization of different LARPs, or like is there anything like which is specializing on World of Vampires, Warsaw works with more with LARPs or something like that?
To be honest, I'm not sure of like. We sometimes say that there is a Lublin school of LARPing, because their LARPs are different a little bit, I would say. Some say they are better than anyone's. I would say there are cities where LARPing grew faster and grew into something a little bit different, and Lublin is one of these cities, which is it wasn't like part of the revolution in LARPing. We like our vampires. We liked our vampires, but we learned from others. And which is a little bit a diminished city in Poland, so we were caught a little bit behind for some time. But I think the growth and the learning process was, I think, on par. Some cities went faster, some went slower, like Łódź. But I think we kind of with the growth of internet, we started like learning on basically the same level. And how it was in Belarus?
I think it's mostly for these guys to answer, because we have Minsk as a center, so we had all LARPs there, and we had also vampires in other city, Vitebsk, right?
Well, we had 3 regional centers there. Wasn't 3.
Actually, LARPs in Belarus started from Rechica. It is small town, very small town, border with Ukraine maybe, and LARPs to Belarus came from Ukraine, I think. Don't remember, maybe at 90 something.
92, 93.
Yes, and in Minsk we already had these nights and everything, and for some time they somehow crossed and was the same, and also was games in the forests, maybe mostly Tolkien games.
And so good if we had the same drug.
with metal swords.
But aluminium,
aluminium, yes,
Yes.
and maybe in 1995 this in Minsk divided into reconstruction and into LARPers.
So yeah, the club split into, as far as I understand, because I can read later, it split basically into the reconstruction club and LARPing club. Before that, it was the same people who went to one event as a night and then went into the forest to play as elves, basically.
Yeah.
Sorry, a funny, like, I like this fact because this is so funny. In Belarus, we had 2 separate, absolutely separate groups. One was playing role-play games, the other was playing LARPs, like, you know, with black sweater LARPs. They didn't have almost like, any connection. I didn't even know like that we had a LARPing club in Minsk.
Yeah, there were people who brought Scandinavian style LARPs, and they didn't connect with the rest, like
zero connection.
Okay, but this is very, very different, because in Poland it was very much connected. And I in 90s and early 2000, I didn't know even a single person who didn't play role-playing games and who was LARPing. And how it was in Netherlands?
For a long time.
Just join the office.
It will be
Yes. Yes. Now Iris can also do.
Yeah.
The Netherlands for a long time, LARPs tended to be very, very rules light and very just what you see is what you get kind of LARPing. So if you can enact what you want to do, cool, you can do it. Doesn't matter what your character is, what your character can do. That's just because that's we're playing this, right? So like if you can play it, then cool, you can do it now. And part of the Dutch LARP community is still stuck in that sort of LARPing, and it's just enact it. Okay, now you've done it. Great. And a different part of the community has gone through. Okay, let's introduce some safety and some mechanics, and maybe talk over what we should and shouldn't do within our LARPing. And those two groups have kind of completely split and just have mutually agreed to not interact with each other, basically.
That's familiar.
Yeah. You do your thing in this corner, we do our thing in this corner. We'll all wait from the other side of the road. That's kind of how this works in Netherlands. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, at least for Belarus, it's interesting that basically for a long time it was the other way around. So some small groups invented LARPing again, and then discovered that there are other people who are doing that. And I think it happened like 5-10 times. Some group of well, a lot of times. Some group of students started LARPing and started inventing everything and all that. And then they know that there is a bigger group that does that, and then they come to it, and then there is an inevitable conflict where everybody sorts out how to play, how not to play, and why should we listen to those old geezers who have played for 20 years already, 15 years already. And so it was like that. And I think we also had regional culture for some time. So we have.
Yes, for some time we have different towns.
No, cities. Miała przejść.
Vitebsk, and different game masters there.
Then everybody moved to this.
Yes. Active one.
Yeah, most of the active players and masters moved to the capital, and so it worked like that. Now we are all over the world. That's another question. So I feel like Poland is sort of a bit ahead. So I think we've discussed this. Our feeling is that in this part of the sensitivity and inclusivity and safety, Poland is like a step ahead. So in Belarus, we basically went to the what Karina talked about, immersion, heavy laughs. We went past that a bit. We started. So narrative was a fad for like last 5 years. So narrative heavy laughs. We are making a story. It should be a story. But then it was sort of stuck on the sacrifices you are making for the story, but it didn't go to the part that you actually should care about players that much. So we were making some headways into it, talking about psychological safety. Some people were implementing like loading and deloading and stuff like that, but not to the degree of the safety words, for example, used. So I don't think we ever had the idea of safety words in LARPs.
We are, like, most of the people are laughing about it, like, if you're that soft, you don't play LARPs, if you need a safe word.
I have a remark to that if I can, because in Poland, safe words and safety generally also arrived a little bit late, and there is a group of people who are basically laughing at that. And I would say that I won't judge if they're better or worse. It's just the only split from the LARPing community, I think it was between the heavy narrative LARPs about stories and things and battle LARPs. Because we have a very, very strong battle LARP community and battle LARP groups and battalions, and we have like hundreds of people who are doing that like many times a year. And I think there is there is some beef between them and the story larps, the narrative larps, the chamber larps. I have like I can count on maybe I won't judge, but like not many people from battle larps are playing like heavy story narrative chamber larps. Like I don't know why it's that, but probably they want something different from their time. And but this is the split that happened in Poland, that is in Poland like right now. And I would say that safety on the battle larps in Poland is like a secondary topic.
In Belarus, battle larps sort of died out. So I don't think we.
Tried some Warhammer, like.
Yeah, but they're not battle larps, really.
Yeah.
So I mean, well, basically people who wanted to battle larp went to Russia. They tried to bring Russian-style battle larps, but those are dependent on having 200 people, and we just can't have 200 people because we have 300 larps in general.
Yeah.
So maximum you can get is 50 if you try very hard. And
300. So this is like about 100 or 100 players, no?
well, maximum is 300. I mean, everyone who ever played can go and maybe play or play with it. I think you can scrape 250.
So we actually have a very interesting thing in the Netherlands on how safety mechanics came to be. And it came from a group of students from Amsterdam who always played a nerve game called Humans vs. Zombies, which used to be a fad back in the early 2000s. Just one person starts as a zombie, it's a week long game, you get tagged, you're also a zombie. Okay, cool. They had a safety mechanic there because at some point this game grew so big that it was hordes of people running after each other in the city. So maybe some.
Sounds very fun.
Yes, it's amazing, and I've participated in some of these. Great fun. Would recommend, but they don't really happen anymore. But the mechanic that they had was the cross arms mechanic, and somebody who holds up their arms like that is saying, "This is unsafe for me right now," and doesn't exist for the game first. And that mechanic was then brought over to LARPing by some of the people who shared both those communities, which became the out-of-game signal for a long time. And the safety mechanic in battle situations, because it's very clearly visible no matter where you're standing. If somebody's holding up their arms above their head, you'll see it. And that was one of the first safety mechanics that really was introduced into Dutch LARP. It came from a silly nerf shooty the zombies game.
Yeah, I'm also amazed about the evolution of the out-of-game signal and how they look and work in different communities in different countries. Because in Poland for years we were using this.
This? Okay.
Yes, we were using now you are non-existent. And now the most common I would say is using this. So look down.
Okay, face palm.
Yeah, nothing else.
Not face palm. It's just like look down. Look down mechanic.
In the Netherlands, so it used to be this, right?
Yeah.
And then nowadays it has evolved into a split off of the invisibility mechanic that a lot of LARPs use. And invisibility is a finger in the air, and out of game is a fist.
Oh, because it's interesting because everyone, like we started in European life, they use things with hands, and we have white garments, like white
headbands.
Headbands,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
and like everyone should have, like it's like a must thing you bring to the game. It's like a piece of white thing, and this is like every time before the game, like who has that? Okay, can you lend me some?
Because everybody forgets.
Yeah, because
Of course,
like.
yeah.
And how about what you do when you calibrate?
We don't.
Very good.
Sorry. I didn't get it. It's a question.
When you calibrate the scene, so because like I think the most modern mechanic in LARPs right now that I really like is the calibration, because Because you can create a very good, very strong, very theatrical scene by just calibrating with your with the player. You are conducting the scene.
Yellow, yeah?
With like
No.
gestures like let's increase, let's decrease, or something like that.
Yes. So we in Wonder LARP. No, this is the escalation. Calibration means that you are going to the player that you will be having scene with, and you are off game deciding how the scene will look like.
Oh, that happened.
Yeah.
We did that.
I don't think it's very well though, because like I think Belarusian school is more like simulationist, immersion style.
I think we have a split between narrativists and simulations.
Yes, of course, but like overall, it's not really welcomed if you come to someone and say, okay, I want to do this scene, I want to do this scene, like blah blah blah, and you start discussing. It doesn't happen a lot, and if I'd say it's gonna be a big discussion if any LARP in Belarus introduce this thing.
Okay. So in Poland there are strong. So there are people who are strong against it, of course. And I also love immersion. I'm producing and creating 360 LARPs with like full simulation. But for the sake of the scene and of the and safety of the players and everything, I think that the calibration is one of the best inventions, because you can have almost a real fight with the player if you tell him exactly what you will be doing. And a real fight cannot happen in a LARP anymore. There are LARPs where
If you read the Conquest of Mytholia.
Sorry, Conquest of Mytholia, there is no real fighting at all. This is the battle LARP that has the most players and the least real fighting.
This is one of the things that we have been discussing though, like because we have in Belarus we have a skill-based casting to the game. So basically, if you want to play a world-renowned swordsman, you should be able to be like to fight in real life, like with the weapon.
And in Poland, it's a big discussion.
Yes, we were discussing that with the guys, like, and we were wondering if it exists in Poland or Netherlands as well.
I think it's not also that. I mean, we also have discussions about that, and we also have experiments. And one of the last games that I played in Belarus was about 17th century Spain, and we had steel weapon fencing, but it wasn't in the game. I mean, it was a duel, and there wasn't a annex, so it was duel with steel swords, rapiers actually, but with fencing masks, and you had an additional mechanics that allowed you. So it built on top of the skill. I mean, you had to be able to hold a sword and fence a beat. But if you were narratively a better fencer, the opponent had to hit the zones that were harder to hit. I mean, like, there were combinations you had to hit in a combat to win, and the beginner fencer had to be hit 3 times in the face. I mean, you go, you...
So hit points.
You hit, no, not hit points.
Locations.
Locations. So
And,
you had to...
and even sequences.
In sequences, so he had to be hit 2 or 3 times in the face or in the chest. It was pretty obvious you did that. But good swordsman, narratively, had to be hit in the left arm, right foot, and on the back, for example. And you didn't know this sequence. You had to learn it in the game to win against them.
That's very interesting.
So it was like based on a skill partly, but partly it was information based, and so it was slightly stylized Dumas, Musketeers, and so on. And you basically needed to know the guy who taught that guy. You needed to know the school he belongs to, for example, of fencing, and then you could sort of understand how to fight against him.
Okay, but like, I love immersion. I also love fighting with a sword. But LARPs, for me at least, are not for playing yourself. And if you are playing yourself, everything will hit you much harder. So in LARPs, I think this is like a big discussion, a big problem, that if you should bring your real life skills into LARP, and if you really should play this fencer, you can play it, you can play a fencer, but I think that invention of calibration and like for the sake of the story and narrative, deciding that you will lose will benefit you as a character and as a person better than just winning. Because if you are a great fencer, then you will probably defeat 90% of people you will meet. And how does that make you a better person? How does that give you some extra information about yourself? How you can learn?
Depends on the goals in the game, because I think we have a lot of gamists who enjoy winning the game. It's fine, like different types of players, but still,
Yes.
this is
Of course, but like this is like different kind of feeling that you want to take from the game. If you want to win, then it's no matter if you are playing LARPs, if you are playing board games, if you're playing RPGs, or if you are, I don't know, taking part in the racing. You are there to win. And play to win, I think, is the now diminishing in Poland. We are playing to lift, we are playing for drama, and we are learning to play to lose. At least both like these Polish people. I'm learning that. I think the other countries, especially Scandinavian countries, are in a completely different place in this part.
So there's interesting thing because often like playing to live and playing to lose is also sort of loosely associated with less skill-based systems, right? There are, however, LARPs that are designed in like Nordic ways that hinge on skill-based things and are doing so very well. So about 3 years ago in the Netherlands we ran Cirque, and Cirque was a traveling band of circus acts, right, all put together, that through the course of 4 days went to actual cities in the Netherlands, were booked as actual acts on stage, yes, with like just random people going to these circus acts, right, seeing these people on stage, and the people that signed up for LARP had to make a commitment of like, I'm gonna teach myself this skill that I'm signing up for to perform it in front of a live audience at some point during this LARP.
Wow.
Yes, and because of it, because there is a lot of like, anxiety that comes with that, right? Because like you have to learn a skill, perform it on stage, and like travel, and like it's stressful to like travel around the country for 4 days.
It was a requirement that your like initial skill was supposed to be 0, right? So
no, there was like this list of characters, and you could choose which ones you would sign up for because you would only want to make the commitment for these skills, right? And then that LARP turned out to be a very well received LARP because all these players that normally play Nordic LARPs were able to very closely play on their relations because they are in this together, right? And they're like through this, their skill-based challenge of like having to perform, were very close knit as a group because it was them against the world.
Cool. I kind of like it.
yeah,
I kind of like it. We did something a little bit similar, maybe or not, in Adventures Academy. The Dungeons and Dragons Blockbuster LARP in a castle this year, that we gathered several people who wanted to be bards, and we taught them music. We did lessons and we taught them music. Very simple, but we did. And of course, it didn't matter if they can play and they can sing or something like that. It was a Nordic LARP, so it didn't matter at all. But we tried to give them a little bit like a skill that they can, in the future, they can develop maybe. So it was an experiment, but I kind of liked it. And yeah.
I really like this saying that one of my friends was saying that LARP is a territory of dream. So even if I am not the most charismatic person, I still can have a dream to be a leader or a queen or something and apply for this role
Yes.
and receive it and play it like as I can.
Yeah.
No matter, okay, I cannot give big speeches or have loud voice, but still it's a great opportunity to try yourself.
Yeah, I think that this is the quintessence of LARPs, that you can be anyone you want, and nobody will judge you that you are not good at it, because you either can play that you are good at it, or you can play that you are bad at it and see what happens. And it won't matter in your real life. You can learn from it, you can learn that you're not good at it, but you are enjoying it, so you can try and doing it. Or you can try and do it and learn the actual skill that you will use in real life. And I think LARPs is the best thing that you can do for such things.
I have a small correction, so we just written as a person who has statistics on the Belarusian LARP community.
Okay, we have numbers. Let's go.
We have. How do you call it? A person who keeps the whole history of
The historian.
Yeah, so he's saying that in the 2019 there was 500 active players. So meaning that he gathers the reviews from the games and stuff like that. So 500 were reported in 19 and 350 in 20. So I think it's much worse after 2020 because well, we are here for 3 years and we are not the only ones. But still the pool of more or less active players, he says, would be about 700 people. But still...
I'm not sure if it's not, I think it's bigger in Poland.
It doesn't feel like it, to be
No,
honest.
yeah,
I'm questioning his statistics a little bit because I think like our average game is like 50 people.
Yeah, but average game is 10%. So
There are people who have one game a year.
yeah, so who go to 1 year game a season or 1 game 2 seasons, and it's a big commitment. So they're preparing 2 years for a game and then they don't play for 2 years again.
In Poland we have either very big games or very small games. Right? I don't know any game that have 50 people. Right? We have like 10 to 15, then 100, 120, and then 400, 600 battle LARPs.
How big was the Dragon Age?
Yeah, the Dragon Age is an experiment that went well because it was the first time Flamberg used an existing franchise, and it kind of got players that liked Dragon Age that never tried LARPing.
Logical.
A lot of them.
It was exactly like many Belarusian games for the last 5 years. So it was very much like our games.
Because
the weekend format, the size and the combination of experienced and unexperienced players, it was like very much like the profiles.
I have a question. Do you have a lot of city games?
Yeah, city games?
Yes.
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. Not city LARPs anymore. There was several, but now I didn't hear about any. I think in Lublin recently Słowik have revived a city game that was running several years ago. Słowik is a famous LARP creator. Yes, he's from LARP Venture, yes. And but I don't know any more like the big city games.
So it's like an episodic games that runs in the evening or something like that, yeah?
I honestly don't know.
No, I mean that basically how the city games looked back then.
Like city games in my time looked that we are going to the streets and we are playing, and we kind of either ignore the people that are not playing or they are part of the scenography. So they are avoiding them or
But
something like that.
I'm just wondering how it was spread in time. I mean, so for example, our city games were like it is.
Depends, but we have games, World of Darkness,
So
at the end of time, and it was weekend game in the city.
Yeah, but sometimes there was a week-long game that was only played in the evenings. Like each day was a couple of hours of playtime.
We didn't have any. I don't remember any game that was played for a week. Like Poland by Night by Design was a game that is played 24 hours a day, 360 days a year. So it was played
all the time.
All the time.
Oh.
You are your vampire, and that's it. It's not. Yeah. So that was by design generally. So if you met a fellow player in the evening in some city, you could have a scene that was.
That doesn't sound safe at all. I mean, it's
It's just my favorite.
It was crazy.
Type of the game, to be honest. Like it is hated by our community because usually it's a week or two long, because we are playing it episodically. So it's like you schedule an episode somewhere in the city in the evening, and you play it, and then like something happens. Usually we have like an opening episode where everyone participates, and then the closing one. And I don't know why everyone is suffering. Master group is suffering because of how long the game is. Players suffering because they want to manage everything and they don't have time. They have to live their life. I had a guy who working as a surgeon, and he was responding during the surgery to some chats in game.
No.
Alright, doctor, not be larper.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I just love when the game meets the city and you can play in the familiar streets and see it from the different sides.
I think we have a small community that was merging LARPs with those augmented reality games, capture the point and stuff like that.
Oh, we had that a lot, but it wasn't really LARPs. Like the game, augmented reality game called Ingress was very strong in Poland. I don't know right now, but I was playing it a lot around Europe. Yeah. Enlightenment, the green ones. I know the green. Yeah. So kill the resistance. And then we were playing agents fighting for an energy around the world, not just the city, around the world. But
there was something similar in Utrecht in the Netherlands for a good year and a half, and it was called Fruit Battle.
Okay.
And it was played by 3 teams of oranges, bananas, and apples.
Okay.
Trust me, it all makes sense in a moment.
Okay.
And throughout the city, there were multiple businesses who had opted into this, and they had a basket in their store. And you would score a point by, at the end of the day, having the most of your type of fruit in that basket. You could only carry one of your fruit from your base station at any one time. And after 2 weeks, points would be counted, and like a sort of narrative and advantage would be given to the team that had done the best that by week. And this game ran for like a year and a half. For people
Non-stop?
Yes.
What?
Wow. People would just be like pulling out random bananas from there, just like just to have like almost no interaction with the store owners. Just like, hi, bye.
Okay.
And that was the entire game, and people loved it. And people went crazy for it. Like Utrecht is as a city had about 1,200 players of this game.
I have a question. Why they decided to stop?
Because at some point
the fruit got more expensive.
No, actually, because more and more of the store owners started complaining that they had these random piles of fruit at the end of the day, and that they didn't know what to do with anymore. Because it's like you can, yes, but at the same time, do you always want to be eating like random bruised banana that somebody has been carrying around in their pocket for the entire day?
Yeah, right.
And I think it could evolve into a plot run by business owners who pass each other the fruits that they are like don't.
Yeah, there was an entire narrative around it of like it started as like, yes, the evil apples want to take over the world, and like two different teams have emerged, and at the end of it all, it turned out that bananas were like actually the evil guys or something.
So if we are talking about non-LARPing city games, then we have a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are run by some event companies, and they are mostly some either the detective stories that you just like gathering cards from different places in the city, and you need to like solve some riddle or something like that. Or things for children that is similar to this geocaching, or the education games where you just go to different places and learn about these places. So I ran one of these games several years ago when I was in the film school. We ran the game that taught you about the locations that the famous Polish films were filmed in which. So and it was fun. I like these kinds of games, but I wouldn't call them LARPing. Like there is nothing to LARP really. You are just walking around and gathering some things that is the same as bananas.
There's a really interesting European drinking game that is still going on, and it is hosted by a secret bar in Prague called The Alchemist. And if you go there, there's only one drink on the menu, and it's the tarot deck. You get a tarot deck spread out in front of you. You take a card, and that card is a tarot card, right? You get a drink associated with that card. But that card you get to keep, and that card refers you to a different bar somewhere else in Europe.
Okay.
And if you go there, you can turn in your card, and you get like this little coin thing. If you get all of the different coins from all over Europe, then or items, then you can bring them back to the Alchemist, and then you win some prize.
Oh.
And this,
So we go to Prague and to Alchemist. And what should I say?
So it's first of all it's a hidden bar, right? So you have to like go like it's a random street with like a little.
I know this bar, but I didn't know about this game.
I know that they've expanded a little bit since, but like if you ask for the tarot deck, then like they'll lay out the entire deck of cards basically for you.
Tarot deck.
Tarot deck?
Tarot deck, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the drinks you get from this are also great because they're all themed after these tarot cards. So like you get like steaming glasses of like random drinks in front of you that you have no idea what it is, but you drink it anyway.
Okay, so concluding this discussion, where do you think LARPs should go? How they should evolve? How they should be in the future? What do you think? How they should look like, and what should happen?
I would say more diverse in the mechanic-like way, from the point of mechanics. I like to see that many games explore different ways, like how you can make people feel things through performing like some actions that make some sense. So I really like to see this direction. Also from the point of inclusivity and diversity, I really like where this whole thing is going, and the people start caring more about like safety, not only physical but also mental. So I like where the things are going right now.
Okay. Anyone else?
So I don't really have any idea how the LARPs in general would and should develop. My personal idea right now is that I want to try to do something to so basically, there's a trouble Belarusian life in the community that a lot of people are now in different countries, and I'm trying to think how to connect different cities into a single game, so that the game will be partially online and partially offline, and how to set up this communication. And speaking of the inclusivity, is something more or less about like neurodiversity and stuff like that. about also the same idea is how to connect the people with the different ways and needs to communicate, because basically the biggest problem with the online labs is that you should write a lot. And it's not really, so in offline labs you can play by just being there, by doing something, but it's much harder to do online, and I'm trying to think of the ways you could do something online that would be effective in the game without writing 20 page essay about that, because that way the game is just about good writers, not about nothing.
Yeah, I will address that in a moment. So, what I would like the LARPs to evolve, where they should evolve, is I would like them to be more open. I would like the LARPs to be open to people who never LARP, and to kind of elitist communities to open for people who don't know what LARPing is. And I would like LARPs to go more mainstream, and for more LARPs to be created that are newbie friendly. And going in that direction not only creates more broad audience for the LARPs and more creators, it also enriches the current communities that are a little bit closed. Of course, there are new people, but they mostly are friends of the people who are already LARPing, and they are joining by osmosis. And what I would like is to create LARPs, maybe not just for new people, but mostly for them, and to attract them to LARPing.
Can I add on top of that? That if we're working to make the community more open, I think we should also work on onboarding new creators, because it is frustrating sometimes when if you have a few games and a lot of people who want to play. And this is something we were working in Belarus a lot, to onboard new game masters, to teach them how, not we, as I personally, but we have people who are doing that. And now I feel like it's a very good initiative to have people who are willing to pass their knowledge, they help, and basically just push you to make the game, because they're also interested to play, and this is what you struggle with the growth of the player base.
Yeah, yes, of course.
I would love, actually, for LARPs to start communicating more with the theater world, because there is, with the theater world.
Okay.
Yes, because there is a lot of terminology that LARP has that theater could really use, and vice versa. For example, earlier today we were talking about immersion, and how sometimes you need to have somebody in the back of your mind, right, keeping everything in check. And in theater, we just call this an inner voice. Right? The actor has an inner voice that controls what the person does. They act as a different character. And this is just one of 1,000 examples I can give. Vice versa, narrative dissonance in many theaters is not a term that they can use. But in LARP, we often talk about how something can be dissonant. Right? It breaks immersion. And there's just a bunch of crossover of these two communities that have a lot of similarities, but always kind of look at each other like
suspiciously.
Yes, and they're very similar in different ways. It's just slightly different kinds of people, but they have so much overlap, and there's a lot we can learn from each other there.
Cool. Yeah. So I'd like to address two things. One is about the connection to the theater world. So we did Odysseus, and with Odysseus, I think I'm the only one from the creators who isn't really theater person. I am from film school, but I never worked for a theater, and most of the creators of Odysseus LARP are people from the theater, and most of the mechanics, more the technology, everything what was chosen there comes from the theater. And I really liked it. I really liked what was happening there and how it was happening. So I'm very up for it. and about the connection of different communities, then and different people from different worlds. I'm not a fan of online LARPs. I just say I don't like them. But there are ways to connect LARPs, to connect people in the different LARPs and different stories. And we are currently working on building our own spaceship here in Łódź. Of course, the interior, the LARP space, like LARP.
It's fake.
What?
It's fake.
Yeah, we're going to space. Oh.
So yeah, after Odysseus, we spoke with people that went to Odysseus and that made Odysseus, and we thought that it's a very good start for building something that we can do together, and maybe in the future there will be LARPs in 4 different places, in 4 different starships within one universe and one story. Because we now have connection with people who have built their own spaceships, and they have their own spaceships, and they are running LARPs or events in there. There's one Israel one, there is one in Germany, and Odysseus obviously, and there will be also our spaceship, which we are building right now.
It's cool. I'd like to visit that.
Yeah, it's also.
So yeah, that's the plan, and I think that this also can create like mega LARPs.
We tried several times to make LARPs into 2 locations at once, but I don't think it played out anymore.
It did, actually. I am the master of this game.
Yeah, but
you just didn't play it.
Yeah, I didn't play, but it was it was an episodic one. This one.
Yes,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is the game that I was mentioning that like it was several weeks long, and yeah,
Oh my
players
God.
actually.
LARPs several weeks
But you shouldn't be playing all the time. Like people were playing. Yes, okay. People were playing in chats. This is not really well. But they also were having calls. They were having like just recording a video for each other in characters, and then responded when they have time, also in characters.
That's interesting.
And we had some episodes of characters like that were built as a narrative like story where players are participating, and it's like not a D&D, but if you know Trophy the Dark RPG system, so we were doing something similar. So, and people were very skeptical about if they will be able to play in different countries, and I was very skeptical as well, but it played out well. Like people were having emotions, and this is what impressed me really, because I didn't count on that. I was hoping that okay, at least we will have some story, at least we will try, we will fail maybe, but people were having real emotions after the episodes, and I was like, oh my god.
No, I meant about
Cool.
the charmer LARPs as it would be run in parallel. I mean,
The Arctic one.
yeah, so the Arctic ones that we
Well.
were running, and there are the games that were supposed to play in 2 locations at once, but for some reason never
Yeah.
actually flied.
So that concludes this workshop and presentation. So